Great.
So we're turning things over to our president and chair, Carolyn MacKenzie from Hillcrest UCC, and take it away.
Good morning. Good morning, all.
Good morning, Carolyn.
Good morning.
I wanted to start with the reading of the covenant, and Channing was going to start us on this.
Hi. Some of you got a call from me late last night to see if you wanted to share the covenant with me this morning. But anyway, I'm going to do this all by myself. The governing board and the elected council build and provide a sacred environment that will nourish the growth towards a world of interfaith peace. In solidarity with one another, we each affirm. Our dialogue is interfaith dialogue. We all have different communication styles and varying views. We commit to be in dialogue with respect for all, expanding listening to hear multiple points of view. We realize that we are responsible for the growth of I4C, and each of us shares a duty to interfaith growth. The governing board provides leadership, and the elected council works towards progress and the fulfillment of I4C goals as we grow. We recognize that we are imbued with interfaith responsibility. As such, we commit to hold ourselves and each other accountable to merit that trust. Respect for the diverse traditions, beliefs, and spiritual paths of all those we encounter. We hold ourselves to the highest ethical standards and accountable to our communities and to I4C. Our shared time together is interfaith time. We commit to honoring the start and end times each time we meet. It is our hope that this living document, which as we grow in knowledge and awareness, will be reviewed and updated regularly, that it may bring our commitments to each other and all we serve in every interaction with sacred regard for one another and for all life.
Thank you, Channing. I wanted to say that we are trying a little different format in that trying to streamline our reports and trying to not spend time on business so much as to give more time to dialogue. So we're recording these events so we have minutes and we don't have to write up long minutes, and I'm giving you out written reports. So give us feedback. We got to just try this and be flexible and see what works best. I want to start us off with, you all had given us feedback a number of months ago that when you come on new to our elected council, you were really a little lost as to what was the role of that you were to play on this organization and how it worked. And we sort of woke up and went, yeah, we need a welcoming packet or some guidelines or some information for you. And Terri Moss, our vice president, tackled that issue and came up with a draft. And I did send it out to you all. And Terri wanted to have a discussion for our faith reflection because she felt that it was part of our faith to be ambassadors of interfaith. And that's how she views us all. And we thought that sounded very appropriate. So I'm going to turn this over to Terri to talk about being ambassadors of interfaith.
Thanks, Carolyn. And I hope that if you haven't had a chance to review these guidelines, we can go over them now. And then I'm hoping that we have time for conversation. I would like to have this be a dialogue and interactive. I can take you through it. The first, and this is something that we would give to new elected council members, and also we hope that you will give it consideration as current ones. And also this is a draft, so we would welcome any changes. The first couple of paragraphs are welcome paragraphs and sort of setting up the mindset of an elected council member, which is, please participate. I always hated it when I was joining an organization. They'd always say the same thing. You get out of something what you put into it. I don't know if you ever heard that, but I did a lot. So I thought I'd put that in here just to make everybody, remind them of their second grade class or whatever. But anyway, This says that with any volunteer activity, we hope that this experience will enrich you personally and maybe professionally and spiritually, and broaden your horizons, maybe expose you to people and faith traditions that you would not otherwise meet. And then also strengthen your own faith tradition. That's certainly what I have found when I've been involved in interfaith women's circles. I am involved in one, and I was surprised at, I expected to learn more about other faith traditions. I did not expect to have to learn more about my own in order to be able to talk to other people about it. So hopefully you will or have found that. Also, we are hoping that for all elected council members that you participate and we all learn and grow and the organization strengthens from your involvement, your feedback, your participation. We want this, your involvement to not just be come to a meeting once a month. We'd love to have that, but we also want more interaction and engagement outside of these meetings. And then specifically here are the bullet points that we go through of the guidelines approaching all of interfaith, I4C, which is the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County, activities with an attitude of open-mindedness to all faith traditions and expressions, using the covenant that we just read as our guide, to attend these monthly meetings, to participate in sharing your faith tradition when you are asked to do so, or even when you're not. But specifically when we have a time of, our faith reflection, and to look for ways to get involved when you hear about what's going on in the organization, or even if you think, oh, this isn't going on, this would be a great opportunity. So look for ways. I'd say the bullet point that talks about serving it as an ambassador, which is, I think, Biff Barnard, who's not, I don't think on his call, maybe he is, but he was a real champion and I think introducer of this concept. And we've sort of taken it and run with it, because I think the term ambassador is a really good one for describing your role. And it's a new one that in terms of being really specifically outlining what that means. So to serve as an ambassador of the Interfaith Council, you're a representative of what we do here, back either in your congregation, if you belong to a congregation, or in your interfaith world, in your faith tradition world, whatever that looks like. And this would include, if you are part of a congregation, informing your congregation's clergy and members of what we do, the events, programs, opportunities to volunteer and engage, to be a champion for the Interfaith Council and what we do, enthusiastically encouraging your congregation to participate in our programs and projects, and actively looking for opportunities to invite I4C to support your congregation and its programming. It's really the whole concept of a relationship that we are wanting to build and strengthen between I4C and our members. And relationships are two-way streets. So we have a lot to give, and we also need support in lots of different ways. So we want to build this two-way dialogue, this two-way exchange of activity and energy to build a relationship, a stronger relationship with our members. And you are the link to that. You're a critical link to that. So we're also, being an ambassador also means gathering a group of your fellow congregants to support and volunteer in ICARE, which I'll be going through soon after this section. And if you don't know about ICARE yet, I encourage you to go on our website, the interfaithccc.org/ICARE, but I will be describing it when I talk about the projects in our latest status report on that. But we really want you to encourage you to talk to your congregations about sponsoring or co-sponsoring events, gathering, encouraging, and then finally encouraging your congregation to donate to I4C and to make a donation yourself that you can afford. This I4C runs on donations. We don't have member dues. And we run on donations and we run on grants, but the grants generally are very specific to projects. And so they don't support the overhead that is required to run these projects. And so right now we are, why do I keep thinking of we are relying on the kindness of strangers? But we are, looking for ways to encourage members who see value in what we are doing in the interfaith world in our county and our community, and seeing value in that and asking for donations. We're looking for ways, we want you to look for ways to support I4C, not only financially, but with your active involvement with your special talents. You come here with your experience and your talents and abilities, and we need them. We are a small organization, and we are always looking for talent and experience to help us thrive. That might be serving on a committee or helping with ICARE as a regional representative, sharing your musical gifts at a concert or program, or helping us organize one of our programs. So if you think, I wonder why they don't do XYZ, then that's your sign from wherever, whatever, to say, oh, maybe I should suggest that. In other words, we want you to be an active and enthusiastic representative of I4C by letting other people know in the community what we do, that we exist, and that we are an important part of establishing and maintaining strength and relationships among faith traditions and thoughts in our community, diversity in our community. So that's the overview, and I would love to hear your thoughts and reactions to that and questions.
And it's appropriate to unmute yourself if you have a question. And now's an open time. If you have a hand up, or you can raise your hand with the reactions, or you can clap or thumbs up, or even cry with those little reactions down there. Robert Collins, I see your hand, and then Diane, and then Christine.
I really appreciate the work that you've done on this, Terry, because my first year on the council has been a question mark in my own mind. What am I doing? What can I do? Because at that time, well, up until now, I was not connected with a specific spiritual community. And most of the activities that my organization is involved in are outside of Contra Costa County. We don't have, unfortunately, we don't have representation in Contra Costa County for centers of spiritual living. So these guidelines really are an eye-opener for me and provide me with a new way of looking at where I can really be a beneficial presence in the organization. Unfortunately, I'm leaving, so I won't have an opportunity to participate, but I will certainly take this with me and incorporate it into my new community where I'm going. So just much gratitude for pulling this together.
And Robert, we hope that you find a good interfaith community to serve with down in your new area of calling. And of course, as an ambassador, you can also sign up to be the chief ambassador for 3 or 4 other congregations in addition to your own, and build relationships with those congregations and keep up with different members of them, and maybe even attend their services and act as a liaison between the elected council and those congregations. We have 108 congregations, monasteries, and retreat centers. So if you have some that you want to be the chief ambassador to, just let me know and I'll add you to the list. We try to keep a list of that, and I'll be tracking that. And then if there's something going on with a specific congregation and they have some ideas for interfaith programming, definitely bring those ideas back among us. So Diane, and then there was someone else with their hands up, Christine. Diane?
I'm sorry, I thought she did that was a great job.
Oh, you did the reactions. Gotcha. Okay. Christine, did you want to share anything?
Mine was actually the same. I wanted to share the reactions. But Terry, again, I just want to thank you for all the work that you've done on this. And I find it helpful, not only for us, but of course, to talk to other people about it. So thank you.
Other questions for Terri? Channing, I see your hand.
Hi, I'm Terry. Thank you from the inside out. I wanted to also see if you covered ICHANGE in terms of people becoming involved, because that's just beginning, and I think it's very exciting opportunity for everyone here to be involved with.
Well, we'll have an opportunity to talk about on that during reports. We're going to do a
Great.
ICARE report. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned it because it's really an exciting opportunity that is blossoming right now, and I think so many people would really be interested in helping with developing that.
Yeah.
This is the juvenile hall system, and being involved in the development of working at the juvenile hall, as well as we're developing a potential aftercare type program. So.
And ICHANGE stands for Interfaith Chaplaincy, Affirming a New Generation of Excellence, and it's working with Reverend Julius Van Hook and our Interfaith Juvenile Chaplain.
Yeah, there are a lot. That program is a new and up and coming, and just in the early stages of development. ICARE is about a half a step ahead of it, and then there's SOJA, the social justice program, and there are going to be other programs coming up, and those that we haven't thought of yet, which is also something that you can, look at, thinking about. I don't want this. I can turn my video off if you want to slam me, and I don't want.
No, it's a great start, and we'll fine tune it together. Yeah, Kate.
Be a groupthink thing, so don't feel like you have to say something nice, I guess is what I'm saying. If you are offended by any of this, if you think, oh my God, I can't, this is a bait and switch, how dare you? I mean, I want to hear all of that too.
Kate wanted to speak. Go ahead, unmute yourself, Kate.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Terri. I think it's a wonderful exercise, and it would be an important statement to have for everybody, for all of us. When I participate in meetings with you, and I felt it when I went to the attended the Rossmore interfaith group, there's a feeling of unity that I experience, and that goes beyond just understanding differences and appreciating others' traditions. It's something deeper than that. It's like a heart thing. And I'd love to see maybe a little bit more, only if other people, share this perspective, some statement in there that expresses our joint belief in some underlying unity or higher purpose that we share together. I think we become something more as an interfaith group, that another level of dedication to love and service. So I don't know how to put that into words very well, but that's just something I felt,
Well, you just
That was
did.
beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I
Dennis,
see
that's so nice.
Dennis Wasco's hand.
Yeah, Terri, I promise not to say anything bad. Even though this is my first meeting, I really appreciate that there is something that I can go to and find out exactly what I'm supposed to be doing as a member, and looking forward to it. And I think you put everything in there pretty succinctly, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
As another new member, let me share that same sentiment. I think that was really beautiful, and it's a great way to sort of become, be welcome to the council, to kind of understand how, the high level kind of how we think about things. Terri, I see in the chat box some text. Is that the full text, or is there more? And would you like anyone to just maybe provide any suggested edits to you on that document?
Yeah. What you were sent a document, a Word document that I read from, or I provided an overview with. So if you take that Word document that you received yesterday, I think it was, and make edits and send it to me, that would be great.
Terry, I think it might be a PDF, and the title of the document is I4C EC Role Guidelines Draft 0909-2020. I
Yeah.
can put that in the chat room as a file.
I guess I saw it. Oh, I guess it is a PDF. Okay.
Yeah.
It
Right.
won't let me share. It won't let me share
I think we have-
Word documents in the Zoom.
I think Randy was next on comments. Randy, unmute yourself.
Right. Thank you, Terry, for all the work you've put into this. And I know that we've had some exchanges and dialogues, and I think encouraging that within our community is a really good thing. And also to find that balance between being an interfaith community and doing interfaith work together. And I think that's important. I think Kate might have alluded to that, is that unity that happens when we gather and not only do things together, but acknowledge being together in communion with each other.
Good point. Good point. Let's see, was there another person? Oh, Channing, and then Father Tom.
I have to wiggle my hand. Yeah, I just really am going to add to what Kate and Randy have said. And in the Meaningful Mondays, we've talked about building a beloved community with I4C. And I really see, being on this council for quite a number of years, I'm really beginning to see that happen. And that has to do with our getting involved in specific work within our community. And I really love the quote that Kate gave from the pilot project, and that was included in the story on the pilot project that's coming out in the newsletter. And Kate said, it was such a wonderful feeling to be rolling up our sleeves and working together. And as wonderful as these meetings are, we don't have that, we don't have a chance to do that. So I think that with ICARE and ICHANGE and other programs that will be coming, hopefully they will be your suggestions. We can build towards a beloved community where we all feel a part of it, and we're going out into the community with the same heart. So I just wanted to back up what Kate and what Randy said.
I also want to underscore that your role as an ambassador is an action role. It's not a passive role. And so if you have any discomfort or question about how to communicate what we do here and who we are as an organization back in your community, I would love to hear about that. What we're finding is that we don't want to be siloed, and we don't want these meetings to be one-off events. We want to have a broader, deeper connection and relationship with our congregations. And that's the unique role and hugely important role to the viability of this organization. So I'd like to hear if you have any questions or concerns about that, or if you're excited about it. It's something that we haven't really explicitly asked of our EC, that we are now specifically outlining and asking of you, that you tell your friends, fellow congregants, faith tradition people about what we're doing, and look for ways to get involved, and look for ways that we can support you.
I think Father Tom was next.
Good morning, everyone. I have a couple of comments that I would like to make. One is on this idea of the heart working together, the unity that we experience. I'd like to nuance that a little bit, that the kind of unity and heartfelt experience that we're having pertains to what we might call interfaith spiritual practice. That I would think that the kinds of people that would participate in this gathering of people are sensitive to discovering in their own tradition what self transcends, so that the other becomes companion. The second thing I would emphasize is the importance of the meeting. Sometimes when we gather in meetings, we're tempted to think in terms of the rest of the world, that meetings are simply business or information exchanges. This monthly meeting is the practice of interfaith spirituality. One of the things that we do, one of the actions that we perform is to come together. We must never presume being in the presence of one another. That is the action. In a very, very real sense, the hour or so that we spend together in this meeting exemplifies what we want the world to become in the here and now of our life. And so the last thing I would say is that these kind of meetings, the more we can dialogue and meet one another uniquely, not simply what tradition do I come from, who do I represent, but what is my own real life experience. The more I can share that with you, the more together we are forging what it means to be interfaith practitioners. So I appreciate this work, and I appreciate the moment right now and the opportunity to speak. My best to you.
Thank you, Father Tom. Yes, Celia.
I had an idea, maybe not terribly related, but first of all, I wanted to say what a beautiful statement that was by Father Tom. It was so beautiful. Thank you. So I don't know where it came from, but I was listening to everyone. I came late, sorry. And I thought, have we been visiting each other's places of worship lately? And Will reminded me that of the COVID, of course, but on Zoom. My synagogue has services on Zoom. Do you think people might be interested in maybe going to each other's services now and then? And maybe even saying hello, that you're from the Interfaith Council and something of that nature, you know. Anyway.
I think that's a great idea. And Zoom, you know, definitely and pandemic has had many downsides, but this is one of the upsides.
Wonderful idea.
Have sort of, you know, disappeared. And so I would ask anyone who's interested in going to a service of another faith tradition to ask somebody on the elected council, you know, when is your next service? Can I join you? And work something out. I think that'd be great.
And whenever you're visiting a service online or in person, eventually, when we get back to that, whenever you're there, do introduce yourself as a member of the elected council or the Interfaith Council if you're an individual member, and share ways of connecting with folks that are there so they can get to know our work better. And we can get to know their work better and amplify the programming that their congregations are doing, since we're all working on a lot of these values of learning how to work together and serve together better.
For the sake of our Janine, if you are willing to sit on it, I just need to move forward or we're not going to stay on schedule.
Can I say something really quick?
Okay, quick.
I just want to say, if you are an ambassador and your congregation is doing something really exciting, please bring that to the meeting. Tell Carolyn that you'd like to have some time on the agenda. We'd love to hear from you in this group, you know, what is happening in your congregation.
Okay. Thank you. All right, I wanted to recognize a few people that signed on that we don't know necessarily. Lisa Alteria. Terry, Lisa, could you just introduce yourself? Because I know you're going to hopefully be a speaker for us next month.
Hi, yeah, I'm Lisa Altieri. I'm with Project Climate Solutions Net. We are helping communities, faith communities, schools, all sorts of different organizations take action together as a community on climate change. So.
And we didn't get you on the agenda. We're so sorry today, but we can next month, and we'll look forward to hearing from Lisa then. And I just wanted to also acknowledge that Julius, our juvenile chaplain, has signed on. Hi, Julius. and Mohammed and Felicity. I saw you earlier, but we also have Okello, Michael, or he likes to go by the name Grace, from Uganda, signing in with us. So welcome you all. All right, I'm going to move us on to our reports, and you mostly got them in written format. But I'd like Ken to start us off with a brief summary of where we're at on our September fall appeal and our financials. Thank you.
There. I hope I'm unmuted and you can all hear me. Thank you, Carolyn. As Carolyn mentioned, you should have all received a short written report on the financials, so I'm not going to spend much time actually going through the numbers unless there are questions. And if there are questions, I certainly would ask you to raise your hand and we'll address those questions. What I do want to do is to just share with you again, and I feel that Terry's comments this morning have really put this into good perspective. Share with you again part of the challenge that the organization faces. One thing we try and do is to be all inclusive to all congregations and all peoples in Contra Costa County. And part of the challenge that provides us is that we have to work very hard at staying in touch with and involved with our congregations. And so I would just say to you, we're at the middle of our fall appeal and it seems to be going reasonably well, but the same kind of pattern which we have seen in previous appeals is emerging in this one. And that is that there is a significant swath of our membership that is not involved with our appeal. And so part of what I want to say to each of you is that I would like very much for you to reach out to your own congregation and to also recognize that all of us individually have a responsibility to support the organization financially. We still are operating in a loss year to date. Financially in the organization, even though this last month was a strong month. But the only way that we have, as Terry mentioned, we're an organization that is supported by your donations only. We have no secret source of funds. Sometimes as your treasurer, I wish we did have such a secret source, but unfortunately we don't. So I have to turn to all of you and ask that you get in touch with us to determine if indeed your congregation, your faith congregation is supportive, and ask each of you personally to consider making a donation of whatever size. We're in a sense less concerned with the size of the donation than we are with having this indication of your support for the organization. Are there questions?
Yes, Celia. You're muted.
It's not a question exactly, it's a request. Could you provide maybe a short letter to that I could take to my synagogue, in particular to the Tikkun Olam Committee, asking for a small donation to the work of the Interfaith Council?
We have an appeal letter, Celia, and Ken can send, you can send Celia a copy of our appeal letter. So that's the letter that you should take. It's the one that came out in September.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you so much, Ken. Appreciate it. Let's see. Our next report is Terry. Back to Terry. Give us your, you sent your update, so people have read it, but where are your big needs right now for ICARE?
Sure. So I'm open to hear any questions that you have about ICARE. It started in August with our pilot project. It's a partnership where two congregations of different faith traditions come together to serve a nonprofit partner. And we have some great programs that are currently going. You can go to the Sign Up Genius and there's a good description of each of them. We're working with Trinity Center breakfast bags, putting those together, Monument Crisis Center, wants Thanksgiving fixings. They have a huge need of 1,000 of those that they're wanting to serve. We don't have to meet the entire need, but we are contributing towards that. And I want to thank the Unity Church of Walnut Creek. I think that's Zula's congregation, and the Islamic Center of Walnut Creek are teaming up together to do this project. And so what I love about this is that we have two congregations that are learning about one another and working together towards a common goal that is something that we all share in our faith traditions. And once we have two co-sponsors, then we open the whole thing up to volunteers, individuals, other members of other congregations. Anyone can sign up. So that's why we need those two co-sponsors to open up the sign up. And so if you go to Sign Up Genius, and I provided those links, then you can put together your own Thanksgiving fixings donations. And there's a safe drive-through process that you can go through to donate and drop off on October 17th. And then coming up, our own Rebecca Seaman right here is working with Temple Isaiah. The Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is working with Temple Isaiah to put together 1,000 hygiene kits. That's the goal. For the Contra Costa Health Services, Health, Housing, and Homeless Services. And this is a repeat of the pilot that Lafayette Orinda Presbyterian Church did with Sufism Reoriented. So that's being planned right now in November. And we are working on future projects, possibly Shelter Inc. to do gift cards for the holidays, Opportunity Junction, which is for people who are eager and motivated to get jobs, but need help with their interviewing skills. We're also looking at an informational interview job fair in January. And then we're open to other ideas. But these are ICARE opportunities. Yes, getting together in person and having conversation is great. But what really is secret sauce is doing service projects together and feeling like you're really having a positive impact on the community, which you are. So this is a great way for you to see, for you and your congregations to see the value of working in interfaith, and that that I4C offers this opportunity. So go to the Sign Up Genius. You can get more details, and you can always go to our website, which is the interfaithccc.org/ICARE.
Thank you so much, Terri. And Rebecca, you had your hand raised. Yes.
I just wanted to add, awesome job, Terri. She's totally been great and such a great resource to get this started. I just also wanted to add, along with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we and Temple Isaiah, San Ramon Valley United Methodist Church is also going to combine with us. And so we have the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has two congregations, one in Concord and one in Danville. And then so the San Ramon Methodist Church is going to combine down in the Danville area, and then Temple Isaiah and then the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Concord. We're going to combine too. And we have meetings next week that we're planning to be able to do it. And then we'll be able to open up the Sign Up Genius after we work out the details. So, but we have all the supplies in the works getting ordered and delivered. So we're excited, 1,000. And we'd love to open it up, after that phase, that hopefully our partners and more people want to do another 500. That would be awesome.
Yeah, this is just an amazing thing that's just really sort of tumbled and grown and taken a life of its own, and it's very exciting. So thank you for all pulling together and helping our community. Yeah. And for such a great donation on behalf of all your churches. It's wonderful.
Carol, there was also, we were talking about the Loose grant and our need for an ICARE coordinator. Can you talk about that?
We got a small amount of money, a $5,000 grant to help support ICARE. And Terri is moving on to be our president next year, we're hoping, of our organization when I rotate off. And so we really need a person to step up and work on a temporary basis of doing this coordinating that Terri does. So it'll be a paid position. But we only have limited funds, but we're going to apply for more and hopefully get more. So if you know of anyone that might be interested in a temporary position to do what Terry's doing, to coordinate these community faith organizations to do these good projects to support nonprofits, email Will or myself or Terry, and we would be happy to talk to you about it. She needs help.
I'd say the most important skill is project management, stick-to-itiveness. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Networking.
Good. Networking. Yes.
Networking.
Yes.
Networking.
Is good.
And we tap into Will a lot because he knows all these people much better than most of us. So he's a real key resource in this. But anyways, it's a fun job and a positive job. And if you know somebody, please let us know. We need somebody. Julius, I'd like you to pull you in really quickly. I don't have long, but if you could give us a brief update on how things are going with the kids at the hall.
Yes, so things are going okay. Well, pretty well considering how things have been. We are still receiving letters and cards and still soliciting more. Our services started last Sunday. So this is the first month that they had services on Sunday. And so I'm keeping that going and trying to even diversify it even more because we're starting kind of from scratch. Some of our former partners won't be coming in yet. And so that gives us an opportunity to rotate and add a little more diversity to our Sunday programming.
Could you put in the chat at some point where to mail cards to? So these are cards that Julius gives to the kids that are just expressing goodwill to them, and they love getting mail. So he'll give you an address where you can mail them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's wonderful. I was also selected to be a part of the Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council. That application and interview process went well, and I was one of two spots, one of two vacancies that was filled. So that's really great. Actually, my first meeting is today at 1. So that's going to be really wonderful to be able to have a first line presence with all the powers that be as it relates to our juvenile justice system. And I was also invited to be a part of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee at the Juvenile Hall. So I am really excited about helping to make change there and be a part, integrated in with, the things that the staff is doing to make sure that there's inclusion. One of the things that they're currently working on, and this is my last point, the implicit, they're looking for someone to do implicit bias training. And we have those resources. So I would like to get with Will afterwards so we can see how we can help provide some of that training or recommendation.
We're going to try to do some implicit bias training in January, and we're going to do it for the whole elected council and make it available for the whole community. So we can have our ICHANGE folks as well as everyone here, and maybe we'll have an optional time like on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday evening when we can do that sometime this winter.
We did, the other bit of good news is we did receive a small grant from Leisure, $5,000 to help support anti-racism training workshops. And so we will be able to fund that. So that's nice.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all for your support.
And there's a thing in the chat room from Christine to you, Julius, about books that we'll let you answer there.
Yeah.
We're moving into our dialogue, and we have some questions that are on the agenda, and I've got us ready to break into small groups of 4 to 5 people. And the 3 questions are in the chat room there, and they are: what stood out for you most during the Islamic Network Group's presentations last month, and you might even remember that we did something similar in February. How does hearing the history of xenophobia and discrimination in the United States inform your personal anti-bias work? And what did you hear that helps you be a better interfaith practitioner? Those are the 3 questions. Let's take 25 minutes instead of 30 since we're running behind schedule. And we'll try, if you can have a recorder in your group, to write down the top 2 highlights from your group description. Please write those or copy those notes into the chat room for our minutes, and we'll make sure that that makes it to our conversation and our recording for this conversation. And again, this was the presentation that we had last month from the Islamic Network Group on the intercultural presentations, which was a history of the xenophobia and discrimination in our country.
Sorry, will we have time to report out? They have the groups report out their 2 items.
I'm hoping so, but we're 10 minutes behind our agenda already. So even if we take 5 minutes less, we'll have 5 minutes less for the 15 minutes of our reporting out before our benediction at 9:55 by Kate. So let's I'm going to move us into our groups, and please assign a recorder early on in your time for the top 2 responses from your group. Kate, can you join or can you follow the invitation to join a small group? Okello, you are welcome to join a small group as well, but if you'd rather not, I guess we could stay here and we can be a small group.
That is okay.
I can hear you now, Okello.
Okay.
Hey, how are you?
I'm there.
How's Uganda?
I'm fine, doing well.
Good.
Uganda is fine. I'm quite happy with the dialogue, the all-inclusiveness, and in the interfaith that has the goals of supporting one another.
Do you want to join this?
In those who can visit.
Do you want to join the small group conversation?
I don't mind joining any group.
Okay, I'll move you into a group, and then we'll catch up more afterward.
Okay.
And I'm going to put you in room 5. No, I'm going to move you to room 2 because we need more people there. You have to still hit that button, the invitation to go to the room, to join breakout room. Can you hit that button, Okello? Well, let me try moving you to a different room. Did you rejoin, Okello?
Room 2.
You need to hit the join.
Am I in room 2?
You need to hit the join the room 4 group.
Room 4.
Yeah.
Room 4.
Or just accept the invitation to move over to the breakout room. Now, how do I move myself to a room? Okello, are you in here in multiple rooms? Okello, is that you? Are you back?
Yes, but just keeps on going off by itself.
So I
now
think
it
you
is
have
telling me
multiple attempts to
host-
join the meeting. I see you have a couple previous attempts to join the meeting in the waiting room. One went away. Let me see if I can put you in one of these small groups, but you have to hit the button to join the meeting, okay? Hold on a sec. Let me hit this button.
Okay.
Now join the meeting.
Okay. Now he's telling me six.
Join the breakout room. Can you join the breakout room?
we keep on enjoying ourselves. Hey, Will.
Hey, Julius. Hey, Marin. How are you?
Doing fine.
I finally figured out how to join one of the groups. It took me a little while.
Well, we've had a lovely time talking with each other since we seem to be a mini group.
Have you fixed all the world's problems?
That's a little bit of a Herculean task, thank you.
So how have you answered the questions?
Basically, I'm trying to type it up right now.
Are you?
Yeah, the two things that we sort of decided on was that it was kind of new to recognize how far back in the US the discrimination and injustice goes. and how much it's part of our heritage, and recognizing that was important. And then there's the other thing that it is important to recognize the traits that we have in common with other people and accept the differences. So that's what I'm contributing, but I need to type. And I can't type and talk at the same time.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. I was struck with how important it was to be able to look at the differing forms of discrimination against African Americans and Asian Americans and Hispanic Americans and Native Americans. Where the intersections were and where the divergences were. Mm-hmm. Some of those intersections were around using the fear of loss of jobs or income to pit people against each other.
Yeah.
Pitting poor whites against other races and other ethnic groups. But the cultural divide was used quite a bit too, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, without a doubt.
Always so dapper there, Reverend Julius.
Oh, thank you. I have my first meeting today with that group, and later this afternoon I have a little book interview for the last writing project that I had. I'm working on another one coming soon. So
another book?
Yeah. One of the things I'm actually going to be talking about is my inspiration for doing it and kind of the work around it. And I had no clue that, things would come together as they have. But I wrote the book for all people, but mainly for the kids that are in juvenile hall, just to give them some inspiration, spiritual inspiration, without shoving any type of holy writ down there, just embracing the emotional support piece of chaplaincy.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Do you have a publisher for it?
I do. November Media Publishing in Chicago. They did the first book, and I believe they're going to do the second. They are working on the second one as well. I've been working with them, but I am open to other publishers as well. And but I do want to, this time I want to do some specific sponsorship to all the juvenile halls across the California, because it's just good. It's good writing for them, good reading for them rather.
Yeah, the horrible effects that our juvenile justice system has on kids, because it is not, in most cases, something that helps them to get out of the situations that got them in trouble in the first place.
Yeah.
It's just, appalling.
So true.
Well, if you run into publishing issues, maybe we can self-publish it as an Interfaith Council and to help get it out there and get copies ready for you to be able to put in people's hands.
That would be wonderful, Will, because as I was really thinking and reflecting on my reason for doing this, it has been like the book. The first one was called Do It With Dignity. And it's just about teaching the kids how to do it with dignity. It's just simple life lessons and life, spiritual principles and wisdom. It's a good read. I would really love to do something like that with this next one, because I was just giving it to them, but to have let's talk more about that.
Okay. Well, let's bring everyone back here. I'm going to give us the one last minute notice here in just a minute, so we can come back by 9:45. And we can start reporting out. You guys were on it. Maybe it was a little easier with 2 people instead of 4. But
yeah, basically it makes it easier with only 2 people to try to get to agree.
Gotcha. All righty. See you on the other side.
Thank you.
You have to re-unmute yourself. Welcome back. Others must still be right in the midst of all that conversation.
Uh-huh. There come a few.
Welcome back.
Welcome to our world.
Hi, Reza. How are you today?
I'm fine. Well, thank you for all the effort. I really appreciate it.
So Marin has already put in their 2 sentences responses. So I'm going to let Marin answer for Julius. And then if there's others that want to report out for their small group, please do so. And raise your hand if you're ready to speak it, but please put it in the chat room for us as well so that we can record it in our notes that can go out. Marin, please join it. Please share.
Okay, let me see if I can find what I said so I can remember it. Oh, well. Okay, coming on. Okay. Well, I'll just try to repeat it anyway. Okay, the 2 things that we mentioned or commented on particularly was that we recognized how far back in the history of the United States the practice of discrimination has gone, how much it's embedded in us. And also that currently the importance is to recognize the traditions and the traits that we have in common and accept those that are different is the attitude that's important.
Thank you. Others for your small group? Do we have other reporters for your group? Yeah, Diane. And then David Longhurst.
It's so much easier to speak it. I'll try to add it too, but just from the presentation, the institutional oppression and how they do their best to keep the status quo and all forms of discrimination with the institutions that suppress others. And the other one was how we discussed white fragility and just working with, we feel that we just need to still be, work against racism, and we need to be anti-racist. We need to be more proactive in what we do.
Thank you, Diane. I might have gotten that, but if you want to put your version in the chat room, that would be helpful. David Longhurst.
You're so quick with that. I'd love your version.
I was in Caroline's group, and I thought she did a great job moderating us. We talked about several things, but 2 kind of the highlights was one, that when we interact with people of other races, it's so easy. Celia brought this up, that it's so easy to say something that might be offensive. And Greg indicated that you never know all the you never know all the ways that you can offend somebody, but it's so important that if they know you're empathetic, if they know you're really with them and that you really care about them, then you can say, maybe make footfalls and it'll be understood and not held against you. So I think that the idea of empathy and really seeking to understand what the other person is feeling is really paramount in race relations. And then the other point that got brought up in the meeting was, in our national discussion of race, we often conflate race and culture. That different groups of people and different races often come from different cultural backgrounds, and we often conflate the 2. And I think strongly that if we could disentangle cultural practice from race, it would really help us in this conversation. That every community has cultural practices that might be productive and others that might be very unproductive. And we ought to be able to talk about what's unproductive about various cultures and be adults about it, and not take offense at every little thing people say. We somehow have to get over taking offense at every little point that someone's making. We just need to be able to talk to each other and listen, and really on both sides seek to understand each other.
Yeah, and it's really difficult to separate culture and race because they're so intertwined.
Yeah.
Margaret Niles?
I was just typing the second one. Well, the obvious, just that there's so much unlearning for us to do, so much misinformation that is continued even today about what was and wasn't colonialism, and that we still continue to have these institutional situations where we're just keep on keeping on, separating ourselves from each other, and so to have the facts, to relearn, to be re-educated, I think is just incredibly powerful, and it's humbling to acknowledge what we don't know and to be open to what we need to know. That was the first. And the second, which I was just starting to write, is that there's so many stereotypes, not just for Islam, although they have their fair share for sure, but so many stereotypes and absolute wrong information about each of our spiritual practices. And it would be so helpful, someone in our group said, to hear about that, for us as a council to come together, or in some way come together and say, this is how this is misinterpreted in my spiritual practice, and here's how I would explain it differently. So it was certainly edifying to hear them speak specifically about Islam, but it reflected back the same misinformation and misunderstanding and lack of education around so many different faiths.
Okay, Christina Doe.
Well, when you're done.
Yeah.
Oh, Zula, go ahead.
Go ahead.
A lot of people are saying, where do I begin? And we suggest that you begin with yourself instead of trying to change others, uncle this or auntie that, to sit in the heartache and discomfort. A lot of us have been in it since the day we were born. Impact over intent. This goes to, if I step on your foot, do I just say, oh, I didn't mean to do that and keep walking? Or do I say, oh, geez, I'm really sorry, did I hurt you? Use your instinct when you're speaking to somebody before you ask a question of a person of color, or of a woman, or of a whomever that person is that thing that you want to learn more about, and drop into the world instead of out of it, because here we are. And take care of yourselves. Take care of ourselves. We have to do this. We have no choice.
Thank you. And Rebecca?
Okay, our group had a really awesome conversation, and these are the two main things. It's important to understand the history of implicit biases so that we can recognize where these beliefs are coming from and help change our world for the better, which will require us leaving our comfort zones and be active participants for change. When we get to know each other individually, we all realize that we are not so different. We all tend to have similar values of love, oneness, relationships, and we just express our values differently. Diversity is by design and beautiful. And I'll put a plug in for the service projects that we're doing with the council. I think that's a big part of how we can work together and rub shoulders together and get to know each other better when we work together and realize that we really are a lot alike. We definitely have different religious beliefs at some point, which we should hold on to those. You shouldn't change, you know, your core belief of what you've grown up with, but you can change the implicit biases that you may have. And I think when we get to know each other better, it's through service that we can do that.
Anyone else? Yeah, Christine.
Yes, our discussion was very good, and we kind of concentrated on what the presentation had opened up for us about the history and the mindset that we're not always conscious of. Colonialization resulted in 8% of the world land mass, ruling 80% of the world. The importance of taking this knowledge into our hearts and interactions, and realizing that everyone contributes. The assumption of supremacy on the part of the colonizers led to dehumanization and treatment of others as property. And realization of how many populations are underserved leads us to the importance of being able to speak honestly and openly about our individual experiences. And if I left anything out, the other participants can let me know.
Well, everyone, just take a big deep breath with me. Let it out with a little noise. Let's do that one more time. Big deep breath in, even with a little noise. And let it out as you let the grief of the world go with it. These are really hard topics to talk about, and it is heart work as well as head work. So, and the longest journey in the universe is from here to here. So let's just recognize how hard this work is, especially for those of us who have been socialized into whiteness. One more big deep breath together. Kate, can you lead us out with our benediction? Are you there, Kate?
Last year, it's short, but I invite you to join in the silence.
Kate, can you turn on your video so we can see you? For those of us that read lips.
Did I have my microphone on?
You do. We can hear you.
Yes.
Thank you.
May the light of God's silence break in every heart. Let there be peace and love among all beings of the universe.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
And let's see, I want you all to know that Will has worked hard to give us a list of upcoming events on the end of our agenda. So do look at those.
Including our next anti-racism training on Wednesday, October 28th. That's the newest one you may have seen in the e-blast that went out yesterday, but please take a look at those e-blasts. And if you're not receiving them, please email me and I'll get you on the list.
Yeah. Our next meeting is November 12th. We are going to get a doodle poll or a MailChimp poll out to you all to find the best times on that day to see if there is consensus on a later time in the day on Terry's request. She was hoping that an afternoon might work out. So we'll see. We'll do the poll and get that out in the next month. So look forward to seeing you all in November, and thank you so much for your discussion today and for being here with each other and for sharing. It benefits us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless
you.
Blessings.
Thanks for joining us, newer people.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes,
Thank you, Sally.
Welcome, everybody.
Bye. Nice to be
Grace.
here.
Ronnie.
Lisa, thank you.
Bye.
Lisa.
Bye, Grace.
Bye-bye, thanks.
Bye.
Good to see you, Mohammed. Thank you, Kate.
Bye, everybody.
They're so
well.
beautiful.
All right.